I'm Dr. Sujit Tarafdar. I work as a nephrologist and a general physician at Blacktown Hospital.
I'm Shakti Rabalkar. I'm a respiratory physician or lung specialist, and I work predominantly at Blacktown Hospital.
These are two doctors I met recently, and they were talking about films. So obviously that trickled my curiosity, and I wanted to know, how do doctors cross with films?
Growing up in India, I actually wanted to be a movie maker, so I wanted to work with Satyajit Ray, who was given the Lifetime Honorary Oscar Award. But then, being the good Indian kid, my father decided I had to go into MBBS, which I went into and did. But that passion sort of stayed with me. So that's the personal side of it.
So Dr. Surjit and his colleagues at IDIA, which is Indian Doctors in Australia, they are organizing a film festival in few days. And that's why I wanted to know how this whole plan came about.
So on my trip to Calcutta last December, I was fortunate enough to be able to meet his son, Mr. Sandip Ray. So I met Sandip and I explained my idea to him, and I'm very grateful to him that he was very supportive, and he said that if we can do it, he would be happy to come. And then it gave us the confidence. Then I came back and I started talking to other members in doctors in Australia, and from there I think it slowly took off.
I've taken a lot of enjoyment in planning events, and a film festival like this is important for not just respiratory physicians, but I guess all people as a way to unwind and relax, and also spend time with friends and family.
This could have been a very simple affair otherwise, where they would have said, let's bring in a few movies and show them to the audience, and that would have been such a simple thing. But this is slightly different. They are bringing parallel cinema. They're talking about parallel cinema. Question is, why?
Now Australia is seeing a lot of Bollywood movies, and some of them are really good. But I also thought that the big budget commercial Bollywood movies, while some of them are really good movies, don't necessarily reflect our values, our culture, our root.
I mean, from my perspective, I've always enjoyed films, but being brought up in Sydney, born in Sydney and raised in Sydney, Australia, I've mainly been, I guess, exposed to Western films, both mainstream as well as some independent films as I've grown through and watched in my young adulthood. And certain films have always captivated me in terms of, I guess, their commentary about life.
This was those movies which were made on a relatively smaller budget, in fact, a much smaller budget, but which had a punch in them, as in reflecting what the actual India was.
To put it simply, parallel cinema is something that moves away from glamour and focuses on realism. It is still cinema, it is still fiction, but it is grounded in reality and authenticity.
I think while it's nice to see big pieces of entertainment which tickle us for 3 hours and for us for another 3 hours, but I think parallel films are the ones that stay with us. So I think, for example, when I look at myself, my childhood, seeing those movies made by Satyajit Ray and Mridal and Abdul Balakrishnan, I think to a large part, whatever I am today, whatever I've turned out to be, and I'm not talking about being the doctor part of me, as a human being, whatever I have developed into, I think I owe a lot to those movies that I saw. A good movie, a good book, a good poetry, a good story, I essentially don't see any difference. So if I may compare this, you could say that, okay, so comparing art film with a commercial film would be the same as, let's say, comparing War and Peace with reading James Bond thriller which was written. Both have their own places.
And you'll see the common theme here is hinging upon the lower budget, because quite frankly, you don't really need that much of a decoration and high budget and glitter to show some real stories, groundbreaking stories. And a lot of times that's all it is required. All it needs is storytelling, good storytelling, and authenticity. There are many movies which can be classified under parallel cinema. To give you an example, movies like Panchali, Do Bigha Zameen, Agantuk, Bawarchi, Chitchor, chhoti, baat, bemisal, and jait. These are obviously classic ones, but even some of the recent ones such as Page 3, Kashmir Files, Castle, DT, and many such movies do fit the label of parallel cinema. In fact, some of these movies will also be shown during the first Indian Parallel Cinema Film Festival in Australia. It will be a great opportunity to watch some of these finest movies as well as interact with Sandip Ray.
So we got 4 movies which I think reflects the breadth of Satyajit Ray's filmmaking. So we're starting with Panchali, which was his first movie and which I think shook up the whole world. And his last movie was Agantuk. He was virtually on his deathbed when he made that. And we picked 2 in between. One of them, Shonrakilla, is actually a children movie, which I think as I grew up, I have enjoyed it as much as an adult as I did as a child. Then we put the movie masterclass where Sandip Ray is doing a 2-hour movie masterclass for those who are interested in the final parts of movie making. And there's a gala dinner where you get to meet and greet Sandip.
Now, here is one thing. Many of you might be wondering what is so special about this parallel cinema thing? Why this is so important now and why we should be caring about it so much? This is the topic of the discussion for the next video. So I will see you in the next one.